Hi, this is Ron Achenbach. I'm here with parenting rule number 3. And rule number 3 is kids thrive on structure. And you'll hear this as a recurring theme throughout all my rules and just about anything I talk about is that kids do best when they have a structured environment. Part of what goes along the lines with this rule is also back to rule number 1 about the dictatorship, and more importantly, about the very clear line in the sand. What's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and just really being clear about that. What we have to understand is when you are inconsistent with your child, they get frustrated. And in turn, they make you frustrated. All right, so again, think about things from a consistency standpoint. It doesn't mean everything has to happen at the exact same time every day in the exact same way. No. But we have this, here's how we do the first part of our day. Here's how we do the middle part of our day. Here's how we do the end part of our day, especially when it gets to be school time of the year and before school and after school. And having all those setups. Some things that can help with the structure. One, just a rule board or a chore board. Here's the things you're expected to do every day, and they got a little checklist. Simple as that. The other thing that goes along those lines is you give them things that you want them to do, and they're going to whine about it. They're going to not want to do it. And one of the things you can do is what's called illusion of choice. An illusion of choice is basically saying, do you want to make your bed first, or do you want to brush your teeth first? They have to do both, but you're giving them the choice to choose which one they do first. So they start feeling more in control. One of the things we have to understand with kids and adults as well is that we are happy to the extent that we feel in control. So if you start giving your kids those little controls, again, in the direction you want them to go, they're going to be happier, they're going to be more compliant. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to try to argue with you sometimes. And you got to get really good at not getting caught in the argument battle. All right? Because if you're arguing, they're winning. And you don't want to set up for an argument standpoint. You want to set it up from a standpoint of, here's the options. It goes back to illusion of choice. Here's the options. If they start arguing about the options that you gave them, it's like, well, we had the option of either you do what I say or you're losing X. And make X really significant. Right? Still gives them a choice. They are still in control, or they feel they are in control. So they are far more likely to be compliant. So, like I said, you got to really think about going after this from that standpoint. The other part is, and you got to give some guidance on this, but it's a good strategy, is letting the kids kind of dictate their own punishment. Now, you do this ahead of time, not at the moment of when they do something wrong. But it's going through that chore list. Here's your chore list. And saying to them, all right, now, what do you think should be our punishment if we don't get our chores taken care of when they're supposed to be done? Now, some kids are going to be really critical of themselves. Some kids are going to say, geez, I think I should get some ice cream for not doing my chores. All right, so you got to kind of guide them with that as well. But it goes back to choice. They feel in control. Everything goes better. Do you see a recurring theme? All right, I hope so. And again, it's just like I said, understanding that deeper concept of we feel happy to the extent we feel in control. So help your kids feel in control. When they are frustrated and they're anxious and they're all these things, it's because they don't know where they're going. They're the rudderless ship. So give them that direction. But also bear in mind that kids test boundaries as they grow up. So they're going to test something, redirect them. They're going to test again at a later time or a little bit different way, redirect them. Just understand it's a test. It's a constant test. But give them those clear guidelines and have a few rules that are just unwavering. And that helps with a lot of things over the long term. And I think about it from how we do things in karate. And in karate, our two biggest things are we have a very clear structure of what they do from the minute they walk in the door from them to the minute they leave. But there's also an accountability factor. Kids know that they have to perform at a certain level to go from one belt to the next, or even to earn the stripes in between the belts. So like I said, think about how many different ways can you set up a structured environment and have accountability measures that they clearly understand. Remember, it's got to be in their language, not yours. And something that can help with that, and I was, again, going back to reprimands, is kids don't understand logic, but they do understand stories. So tell them about stories about your child. Tell them about stories about your parents or your grandparents or somebody else that can kind of help guide them about making better decisions. And I have the story that I always tell about integrity, and I'm not going to tell it right now. It's a little bit longer story, but it's a great one. And I tell this to Aiden, and Aiden loves to hear this story. About every time we go on a long trip, he has me tell him the story again. So again, these things are of stories kids can relate. They can get their head wrapped around. So use that to your advantage as well. But mostly just, like I said, have that structure. Have that structure for yourself. Have that structure for them. Help everybody feel in control, and you'll all be happier. So I want to thank you for watching this, and thank you for being a caring parent. And until we get to rule number 4, have a good day.